Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Sorry. Oh,
Wonderful.
It's so good. Go on, you go for us. I need to.
All right.
There we go.
Welcome in, BOL Masters. We got the Wildcard play-in weekend best of 5 coming up in front of us between Valhalla Ravens and Looking for Jobs. I'm Fenbuck. I'm joined by Rue.
Hello, indeed. Hello. After initial confusion, we are ready to get going. Ready to set sail here with very tasty action here. 4 seed versus 5 seed, win or go home, as all of the playoffs are across all the leagues. This is here. You got to win 4 in a row to get through Masters. This point though, so to get here in itself is quite a nice thing. Looking for Jobs going 2 and 4 in the regular season. Valhalla going 3 and 3, a little bit safer, but still some very fierce competition, and hopefully we'll have even more fierce competition tonight.
Luckily, it doesn't matter how many you lose. It only matters if you win the finals, so long as you make it here. And we got an interesting set of 6 bans, I would say. Zilly and Tarek being taken away early on, and then the more standard, I would say, Hui and Jax bans. Syndra's also pretty standard, and then a Brand ban, actually, as well. But Senna's going to be the first pick for Valhalla Ravens. Pretty strong AD carry on the patch. Hard to deny that first pick value.
Yeah, I mean, as you point out those sport bans, like that is, I'm looking, it doesn't even seem to be a target ban. I mean, that is peculiar, to say the very least. Obviously, MSI has recently started. There's been a lot of talk around meta shifts based off of this patch in particular. Senna taking a little bit of an L, but still being very reasonable indeed. Looking for Jobs, leaving it open. Valhalla taking it instantly. And now Bard Ornn on the other side of things. I mean, just from those bans alone, this could be a very interesting draft already. And I'd love to see Senna in this state as well, because it's not quite as good as it was, but it's still very solid.
Oh yeah, I mean, it just feels like it's much more fair to go against, and you want to maybe find a more ideal spot for it, but it's still very powerful if it's able to get into that late game, get into that 100+ souls, lots of extra range. On the other side, though, Looking for Jobs, the Bard, the Ornn. Bard, very good. I just watched Carrier do some dirty, disgusting things on that last night.
We shouldn't have left him up.
And then Ornn, very standard tank. It's hard to say no. Between Ornn and Sion, probably the 2 best tanks in the game. Gwen maybe picked into it, but definitely picked to deal with it. And then a Nautilus to pair with that Senna.
Yeah, not the Senna. Very solid. Gonna be very nice time here for the Valhalla bot lane. Gwen into Ornn as well. It's shaping up to be quite the nice matchup. Looking for Jobs, kind of left with a little bit of decisions to do. Do you want to match AD? Do you have an AD to match? Do you have maybe 3 ADs that you're happy matching? So you're looking to drop. We're going to take their jungle early. And this is also the patch that's seen quite a few of those typical bruisers take a small little bit of a dive. I want to say too much, but maybe 16, 12, 16, 13, a little bit less focus on the typical bruisers than there was before, but still high focus, as is to be expected. Interesting to see we're banning Jarvan here as looking for jobs?
Yeah, I mean, to me it says they're maybe looking for a more low mobility backline. They want to have something that's not just going to have a Jarvan jump on their heads and they're going to be stuck there getting fried in the Jarvan Cataclysm. Victor ban also just kind of like, hey, that's a nice standard safe lane. The Swain ban is interesting though. That's more of a targeted ban, I would say. It's not something that's just thrown out as a ban usually.
Yeah, another one that you would say is target ban, but it's not something that Cam plays in mid. It's not something that the support plays either for looking draws, unless we have some subs in here that we're not aware of. The bans towards support have been very odd so far from Valhalla. I'd just question why, if we're scared of Jarvan, why would we not pick it ourselves in 3 here looking for jobs? I feel like into Senna especially, such an immobile champion where if you close that distance, she has nothing she can do in return. I feel like that would have been really nice, especially now we're pairing up with Caitlyn and Bard, Ornn, like so much easy follow-up on a Cataclysm. You maybe could have even gone more so in your AD pick, but chooses the Wukong. Still gonna be able to try and get onto the center. It's gonna be a little more difficult now. Had to see how they're able to do so. As Valhalla, are you baiting us?
I'm interested. It won yesterday.
This is also like an outlaw OTP as well.
Hey,
okay,
there it is. Locked in. So I guess that will be the
Shyvana
top into that Ornn. Shyvana in the jungle, and now we're going to get a mid lane pick to round out Valhalla. And it's going to be the Anivia, perhaps?
I don't hate it. A lot of looking for jobs need to close down that distance. We talking before about you protecting your center and the ability for looking for jobs to close down that distance. Anivia is so good at area of denial that Ornn's going to be okay in that kind of range, but the Wukong's really going to struggle if that Anivia does not die instantly. And also, you raise the questions for what Liquid Jobs want to go for their own mid lane. If they have a Cassiopeia in their back pocket, I think that'll be like really, really good in this situation. But anything else could end up struggling unless you just play for the outrange. Looks like they have the Cassio.
And there it is, just as predicted. Got all 5 champs locked in on both sides, and like you were saying, Valhalla Ravens, a lot of zone control, a lot of area denial. Gwen with her W, that protective hallowed mist. Shyvana's got a lot of zone denial when she's in that dragon form. You don't really want to get too close for her. And then, of course, Anivia is the master of zone control. And then Senna just being able to play behind and keep everyone all healed up while putting out her damage from a mile away. It's pretty well-constructed comp. And then looking for jobs they really need to kind of go forward. And that's kind of what Valhalla Ravens wants the enemy team to do here.
Yeah, this is Valhalla who have somehow on blue side managed to pick a counter comp to what we've got on red. Looking for jobs, as you say, looking to close that distance, looking for the engages, Cyclone, Call of the Forge Gods, even Petrifying Gaze to a certain extent, looking to try and follow up as much as possible. Caitlyn, a really good ADC at following up, but into the comp that Valhalla have, they can peel back for days, and unless you somehow get on top of the center, which realistically is only going to happen from a misposition or an insane flank angle, come 35 minutes, I don't see how you even kill the Ravens comp either, because they have so much damage from so many different sources. You don't just have to worry about the center, you also have to worry about Gwen being left up for too long in those kind of close quarters combat. Shyvana's going to have true damage because she needed it, clearly. The Anivia is going to do disgusting damage at that phase of the game. And even with an order to tank on the front line, I don't think Looking for Jobs have enough front line to deal with that. I don't know if they have enough backline to be able to cut them down either. This could be quite a difficult game for Looking for Jobs game 1.
What I will say is that I do think that Looking for Jobs has a lot better creative play potential. Bard always kind of is able to throw a wrench into pretty much anything if you're able to use that kit to the fullest. Wukong, he does need to get a flank, but he is a champion that's very good at finding them. You do have that long range engage with Ornn to kind of throw a little bit of chaos into the mix. I think it's just going to be, are they able to catch Valhalla Ravens kind of before they have that 5v5 set up exactly the way they want to?
So I guess looking into game 1, then we got Looking for Jobs trying to find the quirky fights, trying to find the weirdness on Summoner's Rift. Valhalla trying to keep everything as ordered as possible. The scaling is astronomical, but if they can't get there, then it doesn't matter at all. Looking for Jobs may just look to go through this quickly as well. If they can play on the side lanes, if they can put the pressure back onto Valhalla, I think we could be looking at a very interesting game when we're back, when the game itself is ready in just a few.
All right, welcome into the game. Game 1 of this best of 5 between Valhalla Ravens and Looking for Jobs. Got 5 people out on the Rift on each side, and 5 people with pretty normal-looking setups across the board, I would say, outside of perhaps that Teleport Ignite coming out of the Ornn.
Yeah, this is something you can do into matchups you don't feel great about. If you know that you just want to be playing passive, then sure, go for the flash. But if you think that you can need the Ignite for some trading power at some point, maybe you can go 1-for-1 instead of just taking the L. You don't necessarily need the flash as an Ornn, and as such, Crimson King can be taking that. And we'll see if he's able to utilize it properly. Of course, level 1, unable to do much at all. The pillar really does not give you anything, but level 2, start having some proper threat, and then hey, once you start having the Bellows Breath as well, things can get quite scary for a Gwen in the top side, even if it is a Gwen, which is quite a rare thing to say, honestly, for a Gwen to feel scared. A Snipper really landing a whole lot of early poke. I mean, doesn't go electrocute, but still gets a humongous trade advantage. Bear in mind, he also has the egg to go through. Massive start for Anivia.
Nivea, very squishy champion to kind of balance out the fact that she has that revive at all stages of the game. Cassiopeia taking the Noxious Blast level 1 means that she's not going to do terribly much damage in a trade. She does have that level 2 now, so if you land a Q, you will get a few more hits of that Twin Fang. But I'm just surprised at that TP Ignite out of the Ornn. That's something I would have expected more out of the Gwen to be able to finish off kills. And then seeing that Ornn's Helm in the inventory, pretty nice piece of equipment to have early on in the game for Ornn, just so he takes a little less magic damage from those snips.
Right, that's the be all and end all, right? It's just surviving for as long as possible. Sometimes the best form of defense is offense, right? Apparently, it is like overall winning as summoner selection. It's winning more than going flash DP. So go figure on that account. Ornn into Gwen currently winning extra 0.5% when you take Ignite TP. So every little helps, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, 0.5% is 0.5%. Actually, you see another thing here.
One every 200 games.
Yeah. There you go. The other thing that I see that kind of jumps out at me here is that both junglers have opted for the red smite. I feel like I haven't seen that one come out in quite a while outside of like maybe on a Graves, a super carry-oriented jungler. Usually I see much more the green for that more defensive, have that shield, or the blue to be able to get in on those ganks faster, especially on Wukong, who can kind of use his stealth also to gap close.
Yeah, that's a really big thing to point out. It doesn't often come into things. Having smite is the most important part, but which smite you have definitely can affect things. And Wukong trading out his ability to close down that distance against especially a Senna in particular to try and get a touch extra damage is quite the surprise, as Cam's now turned around this lane from what was some pretty rough early trades to start getting pretty far ahead of the little bird, who has at least got both of them by the looks of things. He's got a cheetah recall.
Good little combo here out of Crimson King, but Chili Blue is looking to take the fight. Ignite comes out, snip, that's a lot of damage, but Wukong is here and will clean up with first blood, a little Nimbus Strike dash, and then a bonk on the head.
I guess that's why you take Ignite.
Confirms the kill, there you go. Not enough healing.
Yeah. Not enough healing. I think maybe he does get that solo as well, depending.
Got a bit of an all-in here in the bot lane as well. Senna's dropping very low. Ignite is on, not going to finish it off. Another Cosmic Binding will land. Nautilus is going to flash away, just barely getting away thanks to that Titan's Wrath shield.
Wow, that was very close for both of them. Pottheon, can I point out the balls on this guy? To not use either summoner in that situation. Absolute cojones coming through from that guy, but he just about stays alive, and that's the important part. Won the Summon Exchange for 2 in the end. Still a positive trade for looking for work, but that was very close to getting a double kill. The fact they get neither could leave a little bit of a sour taste. They still get a small little CS advantage for their Caitlyn.
Absolutely. Max and that Giraffe are definitely taking advantage of the fact that they do have A, a range advantage, and B, definitely a stronger early game. Senna needs those souls before she's going to be that much of a threat in an extended fight. But Bard and Caitlyn are able to put out a pretty decent chunk of damage from level 3 onward. So just taking good advantage of that. Crimson King's got a bit of a wave built up here, but has ticked over to that level 6 before Chili Blue thanks to that first blood secured by the jungler.
That's alarming when that happens, and there's still that much of a wait here as well. As that just could be the normal.
Call the Forge God comes flying in. Gwen's going to flash over the reactivation. Conqueror is stacked up, and now level 6 for Gwen. Got to watch out for that needlework. Gonna skip and slash forward with a little snip. 1 needle out, 3 needles out, 5 needles out, cut down by the snip.
And it's carry on the bot side as well.
Ooh, 4-man down in the bot lane. Eternal Fire walking up a little deep, and Anivia is here. Gonna wall that off, and the fight is gonna break up. Unless
they're gonna go a little bit
takes
deeper.
an aggressive path here.
Should be safe enough. Not enough vision, I don't think, for looking for jobs to properly punish on that one. You have the control ward in the Pixel Brush. Outlaw's still sticking around as well, just in case there was any extra aggression. You can't really put the pressure on, but that was, you go back all the way to the start of that, the top side. A nice idea from Crimson King, but as soon as you miss that ultimate, as soon as Chili Blue flashes over it, you have to disengage. Gwen has such immense pressure from that point onwards. I think they are going to look for it a little bit later than we thought.
Cosmic Binding goes a little bit short, but Dredgeline's going to connect. Level 6 for the Wukong means he has Cyclone, but not level 6 quite yet. Cannot turn the fight.
Why? Why was that a plan? Have I missed something there? What was the idea for Eternal Fire? He just walked up 2v4 and he dies and burns his ADC's flash.
He wins those.
Evidently not. He did not win those this time. That was a little bit of a questionable one.
Sometimes you just play with a little bit more confidence than you really should. Nautilus is going to pay for his blunder, as will Senna, the Apotheon, having to pay a little bit of tax for your support doing something less than ideal.
Yeah, that's going to potentially have ramifications if they can get back down to the bot side as well, right? Diego has flash coming off cooldown pretty soon. Used it to get that first kill of the game onto Chile. He's going to be able to use it again. If he looks towards his bot side, Apotheon going to have a real tough time just surviving. If the Caitlyn turns up, Bard doesn't even necessarily have to be there. If Diego's there plus Cyclone, that should be a pretty easy kill angle now for the next 5 minutes or so.
Oh, that Cosmic Binding just barely is not going to stun Snipper, and so he will keep that Rebirth passive very close.
Very close. I got closer than I thought he was going to as well, the burn.
Yeah, that extra damage off the Deathfire Touch. Looks like they're going to get a shove in the mid lane, let Cassiopeia reset. No mana left in the tank. Just deny that big wave. Chili Blue shoving in again. Crimson King looking for another trade. Leveled down now, but does land a nice Brittle combo. Ooh, Dredgeline connects. There's the follow-up route with Apotheon, but Diego is here. Doesn't have the Cyclone quite yet, but he is putting out a pretty good amount of damage. Peacemaker comes through a little bit short. Eternal Fire is in trouble now. Gonna get absolutely smacked down by the Wukong, and the Dredgeline will not pull him to safety. Senna is able to back off, but Nautilus pays with his life.
They can look for the dive as well. Apotheon has to drop even further back. Has no Dawning Shadow. If Diego says, I'm going to keep pressing right click and I'm going to keep walking towards you, he would just be dead. So has to back off, has to drop the wave, lose more plates. They do get something on the top side. It is a cross map there from Outlaw. We've seen getting the grubs in exchange for that bot side play, but I'm sure both teams would rather the bot side play going in their favor than to get those grubs in the situation. Still useful objective-wise, but humongous now. You keep putting the center further and further behind. Even if it's the Nautilus that ends up dying, it's the center that still pays the consequence.
Yeah, absolutely. Senna needs to have another champion in the lane, or she's not able to get those soul procs consistently. Not just because Nautilus might execute a minion or two, but just so that Nautilus can make some space so that Senna can walk up and get a couple of auto attacks off. But on the other side, yeah, Shyvana does pick up the 3 grubs. Every play's got a counterplay. So 3 grubs in the pocket of Gwen, that's going to feel pretty good on a split push. It's going to make her much more threatening just in a side lane. The timer is much shorter. If you just leave her alone, she will take your inhibitor.
Yes, that would be not ideal. I think maybe the word we can go for on that one. Going to be down basically to this Ornn to stop that from happening. If the other thing is, if Chili Blue finds anyone else in the side lane that isn't Crimson, that's also bad.
Look at the Cyclone coming out into Shyvana. Gonna flash away. Ooh. Tempered Fate comes out, immune by the Dragon's Descent.
Hello.
Now Nautilus again in a bit of trouble. Eternal Fire is headed right back to the fountain. That giraffe will pick him up with a meep.
Yeah, you deserve that. Good job, bud. You deserve that kill. No one else is going to get it. To be fair, no one else actually was going to get it. But Temper Fate could have been a little bit nicer. Nice dodge out there from Outlaw, going unstoppable. Couple of players that can go unstoppable this game to avoid an unnecessary golden, though it'd be slightly awkward if Crimson King's the one that has to avoid a Temper Fate landing on him. Nice dodge out there, but again, Eternal Fire taking very odd pathings to these fights, just ends up in the middle of exactly where he didn't want to be. Gonna be his 3rd death of the game. At this point, he's probably not worth as much gold to kill, so it doesn't even hurt as much anymore. It just means that the Senna has to be that much more careful again in bot lane, though it looks like Max wasn't able to get all too much done with his 1v1, as Outlaw's maybe looking to go towards the top side, might just go for a recall instead. Crimson, the wave's in such a nice place, they kill it so easily.
Yeah, absolutely. Crimson is just really wanting to get towards that Canic Rooker so that Gwen is a little bit less threatening. It'll help a little against Shyvana as well, but she's going for that new Trinity Force build that's been popping up a little more often now instead of the Dusk and Dawn or the Kraken Slayer builds that were more popular early on. But a Canic Rookern's got so much value here. You're dealing with a Gwen, you're dealing with an Anivia. Shyvana does some magic damage as well as the Nautilus.
Yeah, just having a look at some different itemization paths. In terms of solo queue win rates, which is debatable measurement stick, it's about similar. Dusk and Dawn seems to have taken an absolute nosedive, though, as you mentioned. It is not looking anywhere near as good, at least as first item. Second,
Cyclone coming in from the Snipper. Able to flash over the wall, does not get the passive burned again. Dragon's Descent in from Outlaw. Cosmic Binding will catch Eternal Fire, but no one else, so it's just a slow. And it looks like all 4 people are going to walk away on both sides.
Yeah, I don't know how long, though. Snipper's in a real bit of danger still. Someone has to tank the ace, and all they do.
Oh, and Outlaw's about to drop out of Dragon's Descent. That's a lot of threat gone. Eternal Fire, again, in the front line, paying for the sins of his team. Trying to let them escape. I don't know if it'll happen, though. Cosmic Binding goes wide. That egg is finally burned. And there will be no rebirth for Snipper this time. He is going down. Apotheon getting absolutely run down by Cassiopeia here. Petrifying Gaze not going to catch the stun, though. I think that will end the play.
You might do, but it might not. They're still looking.
About it. No, he's going to flash.
They're still looking. Right. This is...
Oh! The crit comes through from Max Pikachu.
Was that a headshot or was it a crit?
I believe it was a crit.
I think he headshot the turret afterwards. I think you're right. That was insane level of damage. He went Yuntal first as well, right? That must have that was no. That wasn't even a 25% crit.
Out loud here.
Oh, no, he went Stormraiser. He went Stormraiser.
All right, Diego is going to take away those Raptors. No, Shyvana will be taking them on his watch. Dragon also going to go into the pocket of looking for work here. So 2 dragons to 0, 7 kills to 1. We're looking at a 3k gold lead here in 13 minutes. You got to be feeling pretty good on the side that had maybe a little less structure for their team fight, but getting ahead makes it all the easier to kind of break through the combat lines on the side of...
Oh, absolutely. Snipper's going to be pushed out of mid lane as well now. He has a little wall to buy some space, but just he's not allowed to do anything he wants. Chili Blues can try and get something done on the side lane, but instant TP to respond as Crimson can also punish any look for a proxy. This is dangerous now for Chili.
They're looking hard on Chili here. Yeah, Cosmic Binding's going to go wide again. Cyclone's going to cut him out, though, and Chili Blue just has nowhere to go. Knocked up one more time and finished off by Crimson King.
Just too far forward there, unfortunately. Look for a proxy when it was not the opportune moment. Max, really good respect as well in the counterplay. Is going to have to drop a little bit on the bot side. This is good overall, actually, for Valhalla, I think, to get Pothion a little bit of time to put pressure himself on as Cam's walking into Outlaw.
You're going to take 2 hits from that Twin Bite, but nothing more there. That Trinity Force adds an awful lot of damage to those auto attacks. It looks like Cam's just going to head back to the mid lane. Everyone's just kind of heading back where they belong, but we do have Bard on the move here. Could be looking at a play in mid lane, but might just be grabbing some chimes.
He's gone for the portal. I think he missed again. He's a little bit out of range that time, I would assume. But he's doing other typical Bard things as well, getting deep vision. The Outlaw has to be sweeping, and then sticking it straight back in his face as well. No more sweeper there. Going to be pretty secure around the bot side, but top side really where the vision should be trying to get. If they're going to contest this Rift Tower, which has just spawned, of course, at the 15-minute timer. Drake still kind of 3 minutes away, so slightly less importance to be placed on that bot side vision for now. It still gives Cam a little more scope to be aggressive on mid as well, as Crimson King should maybe be more careful, but honestly, it doesn't seem like he cares.
No, he's got an awful lot of effective HP to play with. Uses that second dash from the Call of the Forge God just to get back under tower. Outlaw's going to tank this up for as long as possible. Here comes the Dawning Shadow for an extra shield. Another knockup comes through to Crimson King, and Chili Blue's going to have to flash away. This play has gone absolutely off the rails. Crimson King able to buy so much time that here's Diego to clean up Outlaw as well. 2 kills go over to looking for work in the play, and now the play continues, actually. Tempered Fate onto Senna. We're going to see Max Pikachu absolutely blast that Piltover Peacemaker. Flash forward, the auto attack doesn't quite trump the Ignite. Bard will pick up another one, Cosmic Binding for the slow, and Eternal Fire will go down as well. So that's 4 for nothing across the map.
Absolutely huge across the Rift, as you mentioned, looking for jobs. They're doing an amazing job right now of just putting the punish onto Valhalla. They keep looking for plays on the blue side, but there's just not there to be found. Playing it 2v1 against an Ornn, sure, doesn't have much armor yet. Doesn't really need to. He's an Ornn at the end of the day. Outlaw, you tries to make it work. Can't even in the 1v2. Chili Blue overextends. Both end up going down. And then a really nice punish well onto mid, just straight up 2v2. You'd expect the numbers advantage might be elsewhere after 3 members of Lucky Jobs went to topside to counteract the 2 that were up there. But Snipper's just kind of existing in the side lane. And as a result, the 2v2 in mid is there. And Apotheon, Eternal Fire, especially at this phase of the game, not strong enough to deal with Max Pikachu. Tempered Fate allowing the first trap to land for free, and Apotheon could not survive from there. This has been almost clinical from Looking for Jobs. I'm very glad to see it in a comp that could be quite difficult to work. They made it look quite easy, honestly.
I think with the comp, what we were focused really hard on is kind of that 5v5, or at least the 4v4 with maybe Gwen and Ornn on the side. But how it kind of works out here is that there's a lot more good skirmish potential on the side of Looking for Jobs. Whereas the 5v5 is really where Valhalla Ravens is going to, give a shine. They need to be at objectives first and making plays. That just hasn't quite played out yet, especially because the early game has gone so rough. But Dragon's Descent, Dredge Line, Dawning Shadow going to come across, but now Max Pikachu is here to back things up. Petrify Gaze not going to quite find a stun. Snipper is going a little deep, trying to finish off Cassiopeia, not going to have it happen. Goes into the Rebirth again, taken down by Caitlyn. And on a great play that was initiated by Valhalla, it gets absolutely turned around by Looking for Jobs.
Yeah, and this is the difference. When you suddenly have the economy in your advantage, you can just do things like that. Cam walks into 3, barely takes any damage, finally starts taking damage, just flashes out to safety, the team turns up, and now you also get so much extra off the back of it, right? You win a play when you're ahead, you get so much extra. You get a Rift Herald charging into the mid tier 2. You get your 3rd Drake of the game putting up now to Soul Point on a Hextech Rift. Looking for Jobs, again, it's great capitalization. It's great punishment of when potentially Valhalla may have overstepped their boundaries, because if the game stays even, Cam's just dead there, right? Cam is just gone without a second thought. Because they're behind, they don't have the damage to get through the Cassiopeia, and they are therefore unable to chase as well. They can't look for the extended play because it just doesn't favor them.
Yeah, absolutely. And as it turns out, they did kind of look for the extended play. A few people went far too deep trying to finish off that Cassiopeia, trying to kind of salvage that initial play, and it kind of came back to bite them in the end. And Nivea lost her passive as well as her life. That makes her much more dangerous in the side lane as well. Going to be up against this Ornn, where I think we saw not long ago Nivea drop the full combo into Ornn to just barely knock off that shield from the Canik Rooker. So I don't know that that's necessarily a matchup that Nivea is thrilled to be in.
Yeah, I mean, and Nivea doesn't care too much, I don't think. Into the Cassio, it wouldn't be all too different. You can maybe put some more pressure on yourself, but then you have to be a little more scared yourself as well. Into the Ornn, if you're going neutral, it's fine, as long as you can get something elsewhere, right? If Chili Blue is able to put some pressure onto Cam because of those lane assignments, then maybe that's a way back in for Valhalla. But Looking for Jobs is going to rotate back around. The Ornn TP's up to top, and now Chili Blue realizes he overstepped his bounds.
Oh, yep, here comes Wukong. But they're not going to actually pull the trigger on it, even though Bard is also here to back up. Ornn is just too far away. Gwen able to make too much space in that short amount of time with that skip and slash. They're just going to call off the play.
Yeah, and as well the mist as well, right? You can't even start with a Tempered Fate because the mist comes through, but, I mean, they saw the rotation towards the top side there from Valhalla. They all moved bot to see if they can make something happen on the side lane into Cam, the weaker of the side laners of Looking for Jobs. As a result, there's no one even here to contest this Baron right now. Outlaw could get into the pit. It will be a flip. Going to get spotted on Tempered Fate, but he's late. He's not going to get in, and this is a free Baron.
Oh, Smite was almost a little dangerous there. They are going to find Caitlyn in the ensuing fight, actually. And Crimson King on the Ornn is also going to get left behind. No flash to get out of the pit. So you will be paying 2 big shutdowns over to the enemy team in exchange for that Baron. Now, what are you going to do with it?
It was going to be free. And then they sacrificed a couple players to the gods. Especially with Bard as well on your team. I feel like getting that magical journey down nice and early could have changed how the dynamic of this now looks. As a whole, couple of Barons down, a top tier 1 off the back of the tempo play. You get your objective bounty secured. You can maybe even look for mid, that is a very strong maybe and not a certainty, as this is very dangerous. Turtle Fire might be the one in danger, actually. Hold
Turtle
on.
Fire on the face check. Gonna get found out by Diego and Giraffe. There's just no escape. Walks out of the miasma to throw out a dredge line, but it just pulls him a little closer to his fountain before he dies.
Oh, I love that from his team as well. They just know how dead he is. If they go and try to save him, then they're dead too. So it's the complete abandonment. It's beautiful. It's what you love to see when you're the support in particular. I walked forward to get you guys safe. I guess I technically did get you guys safe, but it comes at such a heavy price. A sick death now for Eternal Fire.
Super's gonna get found out here, actually. Cyclone goes out. There is the ace in the hole, doing a nice chunk of damage, forcing out that rebirth again, and will be finished off yet again. I don't know that that rebirth has saved Anivia's life yet this game.
I don't think it has.
Actually,
Chili Blue's in danger too.
All the Forge God comes out in the top lane. That's a Needlework out from Chili Blue. Ignite! All 3 charges of Needlework are gone, but it looks like this play might be falling off. Now, Crimson King still on the play, but that's a lot of healing out of Chili Blue. One more snip, snip, snip finishes him off with that true damage in the center line. Gwen is still threatening in the 1v1. Gotta be careful of that.
And that's the difference between having the anti-heal from Ignite and then not having the anti-heal afterwards. Chili Blue with Conqueror, with Gwen just attacking Gluttonous Greaves. So many sources of healing when he is able to properly do the damage. And Crimson King feels his wrath. Can't split push all the way for that tier 2 turret with Diego coming through the Hex Gate. Backing on a ward could be in danger. It's going to be a magical journey.
Nimbus Strike comes in, a little bit of a bonk over the head, and Diego's going to grab that kill.
Good punish. Just too greedy there, unfortunately for Chili Blue. He backed off as he was meant to, but you've got to be diligent about where you're backing. Only has yellow trinket still, I believe, unless that's a blue orb, and I can't quite see through the lines and the grayness.
Orb, yeah.
But doesn't have it at any rate. Has no way of seeing who's coming. Just has to take death in the face. To go back a little bit beyond that, though, as actually this is a soul money, I won't go back beyond that. That's a soul.
This is soul, but it looks like there's not really any movement on the side of Valhalla to try and contest. It's just going to be a free 4th dragon picked up and a nice soul sweep for the side of looking for jobs.
I guess with the Gwen dead, they feel like it's just impossible, and that's another repercussion coming out of that play in particular. I wanted to go back to the one before, where Snipper died in bot lane. I noticed he had a Malignance. How do you personally feel about a Malignance in this situation, when you're down on a Nivea, compared to something that's a bit more stability, maybe something like the Archangels moving into a Seraphs?
I think it is... How should I put this? It's a lower economy item. It's a spike that you can get to sooner than, say, an Archangels. Especially since there wasn't the tier built up at all so far this game. I don't hate it. It is also like that little extra bit of MR shred just from the Malignance passive, that little pool it drops on the ground. So it's not the worst thing ever. I get maybe why they went for it, especially because time is running away from them here, kind of running out of scaling, especially with Ornn starting to hand out these upgrades. Trinity Force upgraded, Infinity Edge upgraded, looking towards level 16 for yet another upgrade towards the Cassiopeia. Time is ticking, and the clock is not friends with Valhalla right now.
It is not. Well, time as a concept might be if they can really extend this game, but getting to that point is going to be the difficult thing. I think that's what we're hinting at is if the game goes 35-40 minutes, then sure. It doesn't, even if you are down 5k gold against a soul, there is something to be done. 4.5 minutes until the Elder Drake spawns. Maybe something is to be found there for Valhalla, but Lucky for Job still have the time between now and then to really apply this pressure. And, if they're able to get tier 2s without even Baron, what does that say about their siege?
Yeah, even through the Anivia wave clear as well, Caitlyn just doing so much damage to these towers. Every headshot just taking off a fat chunk of damage. Not really big split push threat on the other side though. You've got an Ornn as your side laner right now. It looks like there are other 4 members of Looking for Jobs just going to take their resets, get back onto the map altogether, see what they can do, maybe on that mid lane, try and crack into that inhibitor perhaps.
I think they just set up here for Baron. 30 seconds until it spawns. They don't have another turret to focus down. No more tier 2s. I think you walk out through your top and mid rather. The Ornn's push the wave out about as far as he needs to. If Chili Blue is going to push now and up to the tier 2 turret to try and get another objective bounty, that is going to be a sacrifice of the Baron. And I think you can accept the tier 2 for Baron trade if you want to. Crimson King not having TP, so it's surprising to me that he's going out towards bot side here to face off against the Gwen. I think you can just trade tier 2 for the Baron, and everything is good.
We saw a little emote come out of that giraffe as he steals red buff from his Caitlyn. You hate to see that with your Max Pikachu here. Actually, they're putting a little bit of pressure onto this bot side, maybe trying to make sure Gwen can't get up too far. But it looks like we have a bit of a pincer attack. Flash comes out of Senna, but there's the Cyclone and the call of the Forge God. Dragon's Descent not going to be enough to save her. Outlaw's looking to be in trouble here. Twin Fangs are absolutely ripping him apart, as Wukong's going to finish off that Shyvana, and Ornn will finish off the Nautilus. This could just be a push to end the game, actually, now.
I mean, they absolutely can. Snipper needs a little more mana to try and take this fight to the opponents to make sure he has enough to just keep on wave clearing ad infinitum. And that will be the call, instead from looking for jobs to go looking for the Baron, which is there as a tasty reward. I'm surprised that Chili Blue backed instead of just committing to the split push. I understand, sure, the game is ending, potentially. You got to get back, but I mean, worst case, just TP back. I feel like you have to take risks when you're in this position in the game, right? Down 19 kills to 4. You got to get something extra. You got to get a cross map. You got to find a little bit. If you could got that tier 2 in bot lane, I feel like you put yourself in a reasonable position as the Gwen herself in this. And Gwen is a champion that can 1v9 carry as well. Instead, backs off, make sure that the game doesn't end. A good thing, but Snipper's there with wave clear. I feel like maybe you lose mid in here, maybe you lose the Nexus turret, but if you get the bot lane tier 2, you get that cross map. I think that that puts the Gwen in a position where she could maybe turn the dynamic now for this fight around the Elder in a minute and a half.
The Gwen is kind of going to have to be the 1v9 threat. She is still the only one on the team with any kills at this point in the game. We're approaching 30 minutes. Gwen's got 4 kills, and the score is 4-19. But you can see how much damage she's still able to do.
That was disgusting.
Just a little snip onto Wukong. Just take a little off the top. How about half your health, buddy?
But imagine if that was paired with the fact that they also got the objective bounty and the tier 2 gold all to themselves, right? It's that extra little bit could be the tipping point. Is 3.5 items going to be enough, or would 4 be what was required for Chili Blue to be able to somehow carry this game for his squad?
You have Max Pikachu stepping up, hitting a little pop on that turret. Get a little headshot built up over time here. Peacemaker to clear out that wave. Trying to keep that cannon minion up as long as possible. That extended range from the Baron coming in helpful here. 4 people on this tower defense, and then Outlaw up here looking on a flank. That doesn't knock up. The Searing Charge from Crimson King not connecting with the wall somehow. And so Outlaw's just able to walk that one off.
If he aims that a touch more right, he could have probably got the knockup, because even counting the gap for one team, it counts as a wall for the Ornn because he can't get through. But it didn't quite have the range on it. Outlaw barely able to survive yet again. But they are delaying. Against Baron, they've been able to delay. The issue is being able to close the distance, because very clearly Looking for Jobs have decided their attention has now turned. Diego going to start up the Drake. Pikachu from over the wall could have just stayed over the wall. Instead, they're going to commit inside. They're actually allowing Valhalla to close the distance. This is getting a touch sketchy now, but they should still have it with not much complaints.
Tempered Fate's going to only get Nautilus here, but there's just nothing in the tank. Here comes that Elder Dragon buff. A lot of true damage coming out just from that Ornn ultimate. Diego's actually taking a lot of damage from that Glacial Storm. Going to be running out towards Outlaw, trying to finish him off. Eternal Fire Dredge lighting away. Crimson King's going to land that knock-up and finish him off with the Elder Dragon Execute. Flash Cosmic Binding from Giraffe, just not quite going to catch on to Senna. Will land the root. Play is going to kind of dissolve from now, but unfortunately, we're looking at a very dangerous situation for the side of Valhalla. You have to now hold against 4 with that Elder Dragon buff. There goes the Anivia back into the egg and back into the fountain. Shyvana on the run, Outlaw going to be taken down, Senna being forced back into the base. Guardian Angel will get popped for Wukong. We do have a couple of shrines coming up for Bard. There's just a lot of health left available. That's not the ideal magical journey, but it will be a magical journey to 1-0 for Looking for Jobs. A little bit of fountain diving, and there finally will go the Nexus. Game 1 over to Looking for Jobs.
Yeah, a really nice way to finish that one off from that squad. It feels mean to nitpick when a team's down like 10k gold, And they're trying to fight for their lives. But I feel like in some regards, I can't. That Baron was so close to falling off. That we saw just in that play itself. Valhalla had so many minions spawning that Looking for Jobs very nearly ran out of a wave. If Snipper realizes how long is left of that Baron, he can just play back. He can clear. They can hold at the Nexus turrets that I feel it might not be the safest. They're probably still just going to dive you. They have Elder. It's so difficult, but you've got to try and eke out every small little advantage you possibly can. And I mean, I guess there aren't many advantages when your only kills are on one lane until the final literal second of the game, in which point Poptheon got 2 courtesy of a fountain laser. But I feel like there's a little bit more wiggle room there from Valhalla that they didn't quite exercise, and Looking for Jobs did a really good job themselves of cutting down as much wiggle room as they possibly could.
Yeah, I think looking back now, one of the things that we maybe didn't highlight enough was that it does seem like Valhalla did draft a lot of late game. There's not a big threat in this comp in the early game. Shyvana really wanted to power farm to 6 to be able to get access to that Dragon's Descent, really have better gank tools. Senna needs time to get those souls. He's a good CC bot, he's a good frontline, but he also would really prefer to have access to that depth charge. And then Anivia and Gwen, of course, need to get some items before they're really going to be a big threat. And that early game was what really ended up feeling so disastrous for Valhalla, and they just fell so far behind that it was really difficult to play the way they wanted to.
Yeah, well, they couldn't they couldn't play the way they wanted to, and unfortunately, that is just going to be it for game 1. Looking for Jobs, put the final touches on. They get themselves over the line, and that is all we have for game 1. We'll be back when game 2 draft is ready in just a few.
We are back. Game 2 draft getting underway here. Zilean and Syndra still going to be banned away, as well as that Taric. So clearly, Valhalla knows something that we don't.
Yeah, I'm surprised to still see these bans coming through, but maybe I have some answers, because it looks like it's that Giraffe that's playing, and he is a bit of a Zilean Taric player, as opposed to the person that is on the roster as the main support, who does not play Zilean Taric. So I think it was one of those situations where we had a unrealized sub playing, and that appears to be the difference maker. That Giraffe really enjoys playing Taric, and he is pretty damn good at it as well. Over 2 different accounts, he has best part of 300 games in very good elos, and he is winning a significant portion of those games as well.
That's quite a few games to stack onto one champion, and I assume if they're also banning Zillion, then he's not exactly a one-trick either. Gonna see the Xin Zhao and the Trundle as the first two picks this time around. Xin Zhao, I would say pretty standard. Trundle, though, a bit more of a pocket pick usually. I'm happy to
Yeah.
see it, but it's weird to see it without like a big tank locked in on the other side yet.
Yeah, I mean, you can also argue it's just a pick into the Xin Zhao a lot more of the time as well. It dominates that 1v1. But as you mentioned, taking it this early allows Valhalla the opportunity to kind of play around it themselves, right? It is a very strong jungle matchup, but jungle's very different from having a rough lane matchup, right? If you are sat in top lane as a Scion into a Vayne, level 1, it's going to hurt. All the way through the game, it's probably going to hurt. You're still Scion, so you're probably right, because Scion, a bad example. But, tank top lane, Malphite into Sylas, sucks. Trundle into Xin Zhao is like, okay, if they meet each other, sure, it's not going to be great for the Xin Zhao. But you can mitigate that a lot more. You can try and make plays on the other side of the map. As long as you can spot out where this troll is going early on, you can maneuver yourself around, you can maneuver your team around to play nice and safe. But we have to move on from that. Have instead look at the rest of this draft going through from Valhalla. Soraka Veigar. That's way more out there than the Xin Zhao.
Yeah. I was gonna say a very standard Xin Zhao first pick, and then they're like, all right, now let's get crazy. Little Veigar, little Soraka. Also have the Alistair locked in on the side of looking for jobs. Didn't really touch on that one much, but should play pretty well with that Trundle. Make a nice little frontline dive duo. Soraka Veigar could be good. Xin Zhao does appreciate having an enchanter, but usually I think of more like he likes having a Karma or a Lulu, someone to kind of buff him rather than, supply him with a bunch of extra HP. And then Veigar, big zone denial, big area control, big one-shot potential. He can absolutely ruin Alistair's day if he's able to throw up the cage after the Unyielding Will comes out.
Yeah, just casual Veigar things. I do wonder where this is going, though. Apophyon is someone who actually came from playing mid lane a lot and has moved into playing in bot lane for this team in particular. Has a lot of time on champions like Malzahar, Xerath, and Veigar. Could potentially be a Veigar bot thing with the Soraka. I mean, Veigar bot has been rising in win rate throughout this whole season. Mages have been rising in win rate bot this whole season because, surprisingly, they like having an extra item and they like having 300 gold for free at a random point in the game as well. I wouldn't be shocked if this is sent down into the bot lane, and I also wouldn't be shocked if it does pretty well into a Sivir Alistair.
Yeah, I can't say that Sivir Alistair is a lot of threat in the early game. Sivir can absolutely do a pretty good amount of damage if you're able to kind of get through that lane, land your boomerang blades, get a nice amount of ricochet bounces. But I wouldn't call her a big threat until 1 or 2 items. And then Alistair, of course, will have trouble dealing with that baby cage as soon as Veigar is able to throw down the event horizon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's going to be, especially pre-60 pointing out, right? As soon as he gets the ability to turn off the stuns, it's a bit different. But pre-then, he's just going to have to sit there and either wait inside the cage or wait outside the cage, depending on where the Veigar is. He's not going to get through. He's just going to sit there. A very sad-looking cow, but we've already threw the second rotation bans. These guys are lightning quick with their picks. Ari then on 4 for looking for jobs. I'm personally not the biggest fan of Trundle Ari. I feel like you want a little more activity from your jungler, but it can work, and the setup from the pillar for a charm as well can be very impactful. Valhalla looking to go, they're going to pick their solo lanes, of course, but Shen, I saw something earlier that was very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Shen plus Experimental Hexblade. Apparently it heals for thousands of HP when you press your ult, and no one knows why.
That's probably not supposed to happen.
It's probably not, but it is interesting.
We do have the Jinx locked in, so it will be the Veigar mid. I think that does make the Ari Trundle just a little bit better, just because that's really good setup for a charm. Veigar absolutely despises dealing with the pillar. No mobility and not very fast to begin with. You're going to see a Mordekaiser as the R5 response into that Shen. That's a pretty good matchup for Mordekaiser. Nice and definitely able to do well in that 1v1. And if Shen ever tries to stand united down to the bot lane, maybe he stands in just the wrong place, can always get pulled in with that Death's Grasp or pulled into the Death Realm even.
Yeah, neither is great for the Shen, but there is something to be said about just being like slightly pulled. That's maybe even more annoying than getting altered, because Shen actually has decent mitigation against Mordekaiser in some respects. A lot of what Mordekaiser wants to do is get that passive ticking for as long as possible. Shen can cancel auto attacks. You can stop that passive from being applied in the first place, maybe able to escape with the dash as well. But even with that said, it's still a really bad matchup. That kind of tells you kind of the scope of Shen versus Mordekaiser, and a lot of it is down to the fact that it is that much more difficult to properly escape. Mordekaiser is such easy CC to land, and it's so fast acting as well. It's not like other champs where you have to take a little bit of time. You can just instantly press E, and suddenly he cannot stand united with his teammates anymore. And that's a lot of Shen's kit just instantly taken out of the equation. I would love to see the Shen do some really weird experimental hexblade things. I think it's unlikely. I don't know how many people even know about this. I think it's a bug. But if he does, and he gets 3,000 HP in a fight, just let me know that I called it.
I would imagine that it's a bug. I don't think that Shen ult is supposed to heal at all.
It's not. It's great.
Looking at these comps, though, I would say that neither of them are quite as sharp in their identity as maybe the Valhalla Ravens comp was in Game 1. Maybe kind of branching out from that kind of super committing to one play style. They definitely do have kind of a very loose, hey, let's kind of keep Jinx safe, let her find a reset maybe. You have Soraka to keep her healthy, Shen and Xin Zhao to make space. But then on the other side, you do have Ahri, Mordekaiser, Alistar, who are very easily able to kind of blow apart your battle lines, as well as that Trundle Pillar even.
Yeah, I think looking for jobs, they have a bit more of an identity, I'd say, than Valhalla in this one. A lot of Valhalla is going to rely around getting a reset, keeping the Soraka Jinx alive, and then letting the Soraka Jinx do their thing. Veigar's good for getting that reset as well, to be fair. So, maybe there's some angles there, but I mean, just look at that. Death Brawl. The overwhelming mass of things running at you that you can't properly stop is so insane. Like, Trundle, Alistar, Mordekaiser, even Ahri to some extent on the fringes of the fight, going to be very difficult to really lock down. A lot of this game from Valhalla is going to rely almost single-handedly on their Soraka. How well can this Soraka mitigate whatever comes their way? Can they hit the silence at the perfect time to deny something? Can they even land a root? Can they protect their Jinx long enough? And can they find a way to get a reset in a fight? If they can't, looking for jobs should be looking to go 2-0 up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think on the other, not so much on the other hand, but kind of to go with that, it could be a good mental pick-me-up for the side of Valhalla Ravens. The support didn't really have a great game in Game 1, kind of got left out to dry a lot, or kind of ended up just face-checking into danger to keep the team maybe a little bit safer. So if Soraka is able to have a really good game here, it could, and even up the series, it would also just kind of be good momentum to keep that bot lane maybe rolling a little bit more going into Game 3.
Well, we'll see if they're able to keep that momentum rolling into Game 2, as that's the one around the corner first. Of course, Game 3 will matter once our teams get there, but Game 2 is just around the corner. So we'll be back when it's ready after this.
And we are back, headed into Game 2. BOL Masters underway. Game 1 went in favor of Looking for Jobs, and now you got to see if Valhalla Ravens can respond here in Game 2.
Minions have spawned.
Yeah, and it's going to require one hell of a response as well, in the fashion which Liquid Jobs took down Game 1. Wasn't all too pretty for Valhalla, I'll be honest. Not many positives we can point to. Top side was definitely something, but now that is not a fun matchup, shall we say, for Chili Blue to be dealing with. So you probably assume that kind of condition goes out the window, at which point someone else has to step up. Could be Snipper rather on the Veigar. It could be Apotheon on the Jinx. But standing in a Warded Brush, level 1, is not going to help out your bot trade. I can tell you that for certain.
Yeah, Eternal Fire eating about half of their health, and the all-in is actually on. Ignite onto Eternal
Level 1
Fire.
Alistair?
Look at that Ricochet. Getting a lot of damage out, but there's just not enough follow-up available. Jinx is going to be able to fire some rockets back, but is going to miss a few of these minions. Is going to still take the CS lead, though. 5 to 3 after the first wave. Hex Flash, not going to quite get in range for Alistair.
Max sacrificed a lot, but this is a level 1 Alistair. He used Flash for that engage to get the Flash pull. Does not have Headbutt at all. Apotheon forced to use Barrier. Very dangerous positioning. My god, Max is just chunking people out.
Forced to use the Flash as well. Both summoners out of Apotheon very quickly, as well as the heal off of Soraka there. That's every defensive cooldown gone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you got me a bad time. There was tea in my mouth. Apotheon just getting obviously you trade onto. It's not the way you typically expect this type of lane to go. Soraka, very good sustain. So we have seen it now turn around from how low Apotheon was to now be in a position of applying the pressure back onto Max. But Giraffe just there to tank things up in case something was going to stop that base of Max. Looks like he should be able to take his early retreat, gets himself a long sword, doesn't quite have enough to afford the cull, but still very positive start.
Chili Blue ends that Shadow Dash, able to hit a few auto attacks. Nice Twilight Assault flash to get the pull through, and the Death's Grasp is going to pull him away. Crimson King is going to saunter on out with just about 10 HP to his name.
At least he got to force the flash trade. If that was just a flash for nothing and the Crimson King survived, that would have been absolutely diabolical. Instead, now we get the bot play.
Jinx dealing with a pillar of ice. No way out. Eternal Fire is going to walk it out, but Jinx is not going to be following.
Yeah, hair falls into a love heart, but she's not loving this game state at all. I can guarantee Apotheon, after getting such heavy trades earlier on, pointed out the lack of safety. walks up, and Diego is there. Very little tracking of the jungler from Valhalla. They are able to trade the crabs at the very least, but Outlaw's going to be so delayed into doing this. Snipper's actually in a little bit of danger in mid while all this is occurring. Has dropped back a touch, should be safe enough at the end, but when you don't have the tracking of the enemy jungler, things like that will happen. And unfortunately, Outlaw's also paid a little bit of the price. He hasn't even taken his Krugs yet. He had to race over there to get there in time. Zinzal clear being what it is, and he's just behind on tempo. Can't get there in time, can't contest the crowd in time, has to walk up to top side. Just straight up down a camp now, as well as everything else that just happened.
Yeah, one thing that we can see that kind of happened as a result of that big trade in the top lane is that both top laners were forced back, and now both of them are kind of at a... saying poor sounds kind of rude, but sort of at a poor CS pace right now. 23 being the lead number in that lane feels pretty rough. And only 11 for Shen. It's a rough matchup, but that is a very bad feeling. Yeah, maybe, yeah, an aggressive look, headbutt pulverize onto Jinx here, stunned up by the trample. Not quite enough damage coming out, even with the ignite, though.
Hold on.
And the traps are placed beautifully. That's going to be a takedown for Apotheon. Going to chase down Max Pikachu. Oh, the zap goes wide, and the play is over. 3 Talon Strike's going to knock out Crimson King, and finished off by Outlaw.
Yeah, massive across the board there from Valhalla, as now Cam's looking aggressive onto Snipper. Humongous trade back to try and equalize what was going on there. Neither mid laner has TP either. That damage is somewhat permanent. Snipper hits level 6 though. If that cage are connected, Cam was just dead. He's still walking forward. This guy is so bold.
He also ticks over to level 6, but his mana is looking a bit less than ideal. It looks like he's going to be able to clear one more wave before he has to take a reset and grab all that mana back, hopefully finish up that lost chapter.
That was so precarious in mid. Nearly just 3 kills in 3 lanes there for Valhalla after such a rough early phase. Now it's actually Poptheon who has the advantage. Hasn't been able to spend the gold just yet, so still Max with the advantage as of right now in terms of money spent. In terms of money gained, Poptheon certainly in the ascendancy in bot lane. Bear in mind, he's got an extra 2 waves worth of CS after he finishes off this lot here. It kind of tells you, Max was putting all that pressure on, didn't really get much from it, right? He's put the pressure on, sure, he got the kill, but that was more so down to his jungler ganking at the right time. Couldn't get it early on, had to take a rough base, missed a lot of the CS to get those trades, and now he's on the same CS as his top laner, which we were also pointing out before, as not being ideal for this phase of the game. It's not actually a great start for Max Pikachu after what we were talking about before. It was looking so positive. They might be able to get a little bit extra now. Cam was thinking about a roam down to bot. Instead, it's just yet more wasted time. And this Drake sits there all the while because neither side can really get the push in bot either.
Yeah, absolutely. Either of these sides could get the push in bot if they really wanted to. But I think the way that these lanes are kind of playing out is that Sivir wants to have that perma-prio all the time. But if you're going to be perma-prio, that means you're not going to have any real credible kill threat onto Jinx, Soraka, who are just going to be able to sit under tower and sustain basically ad infinitum. Meanwhile, Alistair kind of wants to play towards his tower so that he has that chased out potential onto maybe the less mobile targets. But that's just not kind of the case here. Alistair's just kind of stuck here in the middle of the lane wondering like, hey, can I go in on somebody?
I think he's got to find a way to start roaming around the rift. The Snipper's walking up a bit far in mid now as well. Cam, this should be an easy charm. Good flash. Oh, maybe not.
Ooh, flash doesn't quite get over the wall. Pillar of Ice just making so much space. Getting it taken down by that Orb of Deception after a little chomp from Trundle.
It looked like a good flash to avoid the charm, but that's what we talked about before. The setup from the pillar to allow the charm to connect so easily, and Cam, it would have hit. He did exactly what he exactly what he needed to do. Snipper, unfortunately for him, going to go down the first time in this game, but definitely not his first time in the series. Going towards a Rod of Ages as well. Going to take a long time for this Viego to come online, and something we talked about after game 1 was how long it took Valhalla to properly come online. Have they fallen into the same trap again here? I mean, sure, Xin Zhao's going to be there a little bit earlier than maybe the Shyvana, but hasn't really been around yet. The Shen in topside is in a disgusting matchup that they're going to really struggle in. And then you're playing Veigar, and you're playing Jinx.
Charm's gonna land again. Another good chunk onto Snipper here, as well as a turret shot because of that wave being cleared all the rest of the way out. Good little chunk of the trade from Chem there. Not gonna be a lot of follow-up though. Not quite yet. Does have the Spirit Rush available if they want to commit on perhaps the next time a Charm lands. But Snipper gonna be playing pretty safe now. Bot lane's pretty much back to neutral. Jinx ahead a little bit just because of that extra wave and a half of gold sitting in her pocket. Soraka building towards probably that Moonstone Renewer. A little bit of gold in her pocket, but nothing much. No one's really onto that big one-item spike just yet. Zap's gonna go wide. Spell Shield wasted, unfortunately. And it looks like we have Trundle actually out here on these Void Grubs, trying to grab all three of those for the side of looking for jobs.
Yeah, and that's going to matter a lot as well, right? Maybe different from what we talked about in game one, where it was there as a cross map. This time, it's effectively for free. Trundle is missing on his camp timers right now, but he's even going for the crab, then looking for mid. But if he's got the time to, if he feels he has the time rather, to just go and get these random objectives and then make the play happen on Snipper. Bear in mind, he has no flash. This could be devastating.
Yeah, Spirit Rush in, uses that pillar nicely. The Primordial Burst comes out, but Ari is just not low enough. He's going to pick up that kill basically for free. They continues on the bot side though. Unyielding Will buys a lot of time. Outlaw is going to put enough damage out to finish off that kill for the Apotheon. 2 kills in the pocket of Jinx. It's got to feel pretty good for getting that snowball started on what will probably be your primary teamfight carry.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of what you'd want from Valhalla. You were talking, do they have they drafted too much into scaling? Maybe not, I guess. If your Jinx gets strong early enough, then she can sometimes be that bridge that brings you to the point where she gets even stronger. It's one of those things where you got to be so careful of letting the enemy ADC get fed, because it's a very nasty snowball. She's going to be there for all the key fights, and all it takes is one reset, especially as the Jinx. Snipper, oh no.
Snipper absolutely mollywopped again in the 1v3. Pillar of Ice, Pulverize, Charm. There's just nowhere for you to go, buddy. Orb of Deception and Foxfire will combine to finish off the second kill for Ari, the third kill onto Snipper.
Poor guy. I mean, you have no flash. Still, you got to be a little more mindful of where you're standing on the Rift. The first flash punish, the first flash get rather, was really nice for looking for jobs. They set it up very well. Snipper did his best to try and outplay it. The cage delayed for as long as it could, but he gets caught. He goes down. Once that flash isn't there, Trundle Ari is such a potent combo. They just pillar, they charm, and you're dead.
Ooh, flash forward, Spirit Rush, Charm. Great play onto the Jinx.
Too.
Flash out of the Soraka. Unyielding Will comes out for Alistar, going to buy a lot of time under this tower for the dive. And they are going to pick up 2 kills and walk away. Very well played by the side of looking for jobs.
Yeah, wow. They don't even need a Trundle pillar to set up Ari plays. Just straight up flash charm in. Cam not messing about at all today. Apotheon didn't even have the time to respond with either summoner. Deleted before he even hit his prime, as Crimson's now taking a little bit of turret shots. We head back to mid.
Yeah, Primordial Burst coming out again. Not going to quite finish off Diego. Both junglers are going to have to burn their flash to get away, and neither of them are going to fall down. Bit of a scrap, but no real winner.
Yeah, I'm surprised it actually went as well as that did for Valhalla in mid lane. That's 2v2.
Death Realm actually for Shen. He's on his one-way trip to Brazil. One more Obliterate ought to finish the job. Actually, it looks like he'll be able to get away for now. Crimson King will be able to flash away. Takes the solo kill. Walks out. Wasn't even worried about it.
I could have been worried if Outlaw had moved off his Gromp. As we're going to go yet again down to bot lane. Giraffe, what an amazing flank this is.
Oh, yep, he's going to be able to set up a few instances of crowd control. I don't know if the Pillar of Ice is going to get in range in time, but it looks like they're just going to take the Soraka and call it good there.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, you get the Soraka. It's not that bad of a worst case scenario. It also allows them guaranteed bot push. Apotheon has to just sit back, wait, and catch his wave at a delayed pace. Guaranteed Drake then going to be going over to looking for jobs. We haven't even had a Drake icon pop on the top left so far this game, because we've gone Chemtech into Hextech. I'm interested to see the first icon's actually going to be the Soul. What do you reckon? Infernal? Mountain. Game
It's gonna
2.
be Mountain. All right, Mountain Soul. I feel like that's gotta be a great feeling for looking for work. There's a lot of, I hesitate to say a lot of burst damage, but there's a lot of pretty quick trigger damage as Outlaw's gonna get caught out in the jungle. Trample stunned up. Max Pikachu picks up another kill, but a lot of quick trigger damage coming out from the side, coming out from both sides. Really, I think either side would be very happy to have that little extra hit of resist, that little extra shield on top, just to not get one shot like poor Outlaw did right there.
Yeah, Outlaw really could have done with that, but I mean, unlikely to have a soul at 13 minutes, but he really could have done with anything to mitigate that level of sneakiness and then burst afterwards. Great hide on bush strat. Let him take the Krugs, walks into his red to realize that it is a death trap. And Outlaw, it is his first death, so fair play from that perspective, but it's not the first death of his team. That's the 9th from his side, and it's resulted in a humongous gold deficit for Valhalla. Down 4k already, stretching to 4.5 when the waves are pushed in. I mean, this feels like we're on repeat. Different champions, same result.
At 4k, and then we also have to consider gold value from those 2 dragons, gold value from all 3 grubs. It's been pretty much an objective masterclass so far from Diego here. Outlaw's had some pretty good fights, but the objective control has just favored looking for jobs so heavily.
And again, it comes back to that point we talked about before. They drafted for such late-game team-fighting ideals, but they're struggling to get there. They've got Shen into Mordekaiser. If this on your screen doesn't tell you how rough that matchup is, I don't quite honestly know what will. Down more than 50 CS already. Trundle is just eating Outlaw.
Found out again. Here comes the Subjugate. Don't know if he's going to have the damage. 3-talent strike for the knock-up. He is going to have damage. Absolutely
Jesus.
Eaten. Just bite him to death. Oh my goodness. Super Mega Death Rocket comes in, but it splits the middle. There will be no damage from the AD carry this time around. Outlaw off the map means it's going to be a free Rift Arrow to the side of looking for work.
And that's what Trundle looks like when he has lane priority as well, right? The Mordekaiser is pushing in top. Snipper hasn't got a chance of hanging on to mid. That's a beautiful charm.
Oh, yep. Headbutt Pulverize follow-up. Turns on the Unyielding Will for that extra damage resistance, but the Archangel Staff Shield is so massive. Oh, actually, it was the Shen ultimate, but even with that, Ahri is able to put out enough damage to finish off the kill with that Orb of Deception. That's going to leave Mordekaiser in a solo lane to try and finish off that first tower.
Hold on. Maybe something back though. Drop.
Here comes Lightning. Oh, but Cam is there to intercept. There will not be a follow-up by Outlaw.
That hurts. It's things like that. You need something back at some point. Otherwise, you really are looking at a repeat of what happened in game 1. Now the top tier one's taken as well. And how do you slow down what looks to be an even bigger snowball than what we even got to see in game 1? He's got Imperial Mandate, Alistair.
I suppose it does make sense. It is applying a
oh my god, the ability haste
whenever you land the CC, plus all that extra ability haste on Headbutt and Pulverize and Trample.
And Trample.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm surprised to see it as a first item, but that does sound like a fun tech.
It sounds very fun. He's going to do some damage as well. That's 65 AP in Alistair. He has actual decent AP ratios. It's surprisingly good. Max stepping forward 1v3.
Is going to get found by Xin Zhao. Outlaw going in. Not going to land the root
the CP flank.
Super Mega Death Rocket going to get absorbed by the Spell Shield. Here comes Ahri. Going to eat some chompers, but lands a nice charm. Outlaw just going deep, trying to confirm this kill onto Max Pikachu. If they can't get this, what can they get? The answer is nothing. All 4 members are down here for the side of Valhalla, but they're just going to get nothing in return. And meanwhile, Mordekaiser is knocking down yet another tower in the top lane.
When you can win 4v5, that also means you get a 1v0 for free. Chili Blue's having a go, but this is so dangerous from him.
Ricochets are coming out, and they are absolutely eviscerating it.
Turret's
Fire
gone.
needs to be very careful. They are going to pick up the Trundle. Unyielding Will out from Alistair means that he is so difficult to kill. We're going to get Ahri in the Rift Herald, go for a bit of a drive, but that might have been a bit of a mistake. He's going to have to take this all the way over to mid lane now, but it looks like Mordekaiser will pick up this tier 2 tower in the top lane in sort of an interesting extended play.
Yeah, I would argue that slightly undermined the positives that were gained from looking for jobs, but I mean, they're having fun at this phase, right? They have done what's required as of yet. That was a little bit of happy gaming, possibly too happy gaming, as you may be getting over a Drake as well. This was your early win condition, especially into a Jinx Veigar. You need to get an early win condition going. This could have ramification beyond even just that play. The gold kind of stays where it is at 6k. If anything, probably a little bit better. I think it got to about 7 before then. They get the ejector bounty, they bring it back. The Jinx gets all of that gold as well. If we can have a quick little look, I'd be fascinated to see just how much of it is on the Jinx compared to everyone else, because it feels like Bottheon, once he gets this base off, he's going to be right back in the game.
Significantly, yeah. He's up 1,400 now.
He's ahead of everyone.
Big money, and it's big money right where you want it to be. The other big leads, though, are the Mordekaiser and the Trundle, both very strong over their counterparts, as well as almost 2,000 in the mid lane for Ahri over that Veigar. Ow. So Jinx is ahead, but she has a bit of an uphill climb.
Oh yeah, it is mountain to climb. That's I think maybe a bit more than a little bit. This is approaching maybe Kilimanjaro, not quite Everest just yet, but it's a large mountain to overcome. But Apotheon looking so far to be up to the test. Jobs, they got one hell of a job in their hands to try and rein in what Apotheon has done so far. He is the only target to really worry about at this phase, but a couple more oversteps like what we just saw, and it feels like Valhalla have a small little avenue back into this game. I don't want to call it any more than that. They haven't got a road, they haven't got a clear direction, but they might have a little bit of wiggle room to play around with, and that was something in game 1. Looking for Job did such a good job at denying. They didn't give any wiggle room at all. This time, I'd argue there's a tiny modicum of hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Jinx being the primary target, it is threatening, but also it just means that Valhalla also knows where they're going to be committing all of their defensive resources. That Stand United is going to be going, I would assume, almost exclusively onto Jinx. Soraka is just going to be pocketing her for the rest of the game. Veigar needs to set up his cage to keep Jinx as safe as possible. And Xin Zhao needs to be kind of mindful of where his knockbacks are going to send people, just so that there isn't any undue threat onto that backline. But meanwhile, there's still a lot of tools that Looking for Jobs has to deal with it. That Pillar of Ice we've seen do work already. Alistair has been flying in with headbutt pulverizes all over the place. Sivir has got the ricochets to bounce off that Shen, that Xin Zhao that are trying to buy space, and then Ahri has been so on point.
I haven't read this at all.
And no, there's just no response on this Baron. I don't even know if they think that it's a possibility.
I mean, with the Ahri showing on mid, I guess they assume that it isn't. Crimson King also showing on bot. They're going to get the bad news. They put a blue orb just as it falls down. I mean, Sivir, Trundle go missing from the Rift. Alistair missing with them for that long. Someone's got to at least put a blue orb in the vicinity. Apotheon, if he put the orb at about, when Baron's at kind of 4,000, maybe you can make a death rocket. Maybe you have a small little chance. But now Baron's taken, and the only possible punish is on Crimson King, but he can just ult someone and kill them.
Looks like he will be going for that ult.
Oh, that cage.
He's going to drop an ult onto Outlaw, try and finish him off. Will do so. So this will at best be a 1-for-1. He did steal all those stats. Nice double pull.
The W8, the
Primordial Burst is not enough to finish him off through the unbreakable, through the indomitable, the big W shield coming out of Mordekaiser. He's still going. He's going to finish off a third, 2v5. Mordekaiser picks up 3 with the help of Alistair.
Can they end?
I think they might.
Veigar has nowhere near enough wave clear to deal with this. The Shen's coming in as well. Chili Blue forcing a retreat. It feels like Looking for Jobs don't want to flip the game over a situation like this. I understand that. Outlaw's back as well. So maybe it would be a touch too far. Instead, just going to settle for taking 2 inhibs at 23 minutes into the game. They still have a minute and a half as well to set up, reorganize themselves for the bot lane as well. Just insane levels of Mordekaiser, and that is why he's such a prominent champ in those types of plays. You just leave him alone in the bot lane while you're taking the Baron. You have enough damage because your Civ is strong enough to just take it, and then when they go and try and punish, he does things like that. That was insane.
And we're going to settle in nicely with a 9,000 gold lead for looking for jobs. I don't think they need much of a job with that much gold in their pocket. There's a nice pillar comes in, charm follow-up. Outlaw is just absolutely out of health. Going to be another Spirit Rush forward onto Chili Blue. Another charm lands onto the Jinx.
GG.
This guy's just a sniper. He doesn't miss.
Does not miss at all. We're set up or not. When he has the Trundle pillar to help him, it looks a little bit easier, but that's because that's on us.
That one
we'll
charm
take the
goes a
blame for
little
that one.
wide. We caster cursed it. It's fine.
We'll take the blame on that one. They end the game at 24 minutes. I don't think they care.
No, that play in the bot lane just kind of showed I think the game was pretty much over at that point. If it wasn't completely over, that was definitely a devastating blow just mentally. To commit that much onto a play and have it go that poorly, that feels really rough, especially when you're now staring down the barrel of getting 3-0'd potentially.
Yeah, I think you could also tell from Valhalla how much they just wanted to get out of there. They just take the next fight that was available. Wasn't really anything to fight over. Maybe Drake was spawning. That's about as tenuous as it gets. They don't need to take that fight. They never needed to take that fight. They got the Drake in between as well. That wasn't even Soul. They can delay for 5 minutes if they want to try and play us out for a win. But you could tell they wanted out of there. And I question why. It feels like, okay, it's not going great. Sure, I completely understand that. Top lane didn't exist. It's a disgusting counter matchup. It happens when the enemy team has red side. You could have had red side, but you chose blue side. That's fine. Jungle, Xin Zhao is a Trundle, with winning lanes as the Trundle. Unplayable for a Xin Zhao. But your Veigar was like starting to get there. Has 2.5 items at 24 minutes. Your Jinx. A very quick, almost like a just do it again. A rage run it back. Straight into game 3 we go. Straight into a Nocturne first pick. The side house swapped. Nocturne is a very interesting first pick champion. I kind of like to see it. I like it.
I think Nocturne is kind of the best of the junglers left. Jarvan is still in the pool. Would not be surprised to see that taken as well. The big ones recently though are kind of the Wukong, the Nocturne, the Xin Zhao. Bel'Veth being hovered, that could be interesting.
I'm not going to say anything because it's a hover. I'm going to say something, it's not a hover. I think that they are on tilt, and I think that they are looking to try and have some fun. And if they get some through this game, whether they win or lose, then all power to them. If you can't win when you're doing what you call like the correct thing, do the fun thing, and maybe that'll work better. You clearly need some team morale after what we just saw in game 1 and game 2. You got stomped twice back to back. Maybe just having some comfort, having some more fun solo queue type comp could work out.
Here comes that Swain locked in as well. I think we saw that banned away in game 1, but going to be taken this time. We see a Varus Lulu response that kind of says to me more on-hit Varus, that sort of static Shiv Ginsu's build that's been popping up lately. To play with the attack speed buffing Lulu, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean you can just kind of go hype carry, I guess. It seems to be the only version of Varus that is good at all is the Shiv Ginsu's. The rest of them seem to be not doing well, to put it mildly. So I think you, with an Enchantress where you can just go for the hyper carry version, but you are in such danger, potentially, right? Especially now into Leona, you're immobile by default. Bel'Veth, if she can close that distance, you are in for a world of hurt, and you're going to have to rely on some very clutch Lulu polymorphing to keep you alive.
All right, we're going to see Leona locked in, and we're heading into the second round of bans. Galio going to be taken away. Kind of a classic pairing with Nocturne, sort of the dive duo, as was kind of mentioned last time around with the Trundle and Alistair. But Galio Nocturne, pretty iconic. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe an Orianna taken away here as well. Just something else that plays really nicely off. It's actually going to be Lissandra. Interesting. And then Akali going to be taken off the map as well. One more ban left will be the Yone. So a couple of melee mid laners taken away. I wonder if that's going to signal maybe a specific pick that Looking for Jobs has lined up.
You ban typically Akali Yone is like a picking Azir, but that's again like assuming that you're gonna have like the counter. I mean, I feel like Orianna should be the obvious choice, but I'm looking at Cam. Doesn't have a lot of Orianna played, and I don't think you necessarily care too much about those picks either. If you're the Orianna, especially with the Nocturne, you're the one looking to go on the front foot anyway. I feel like you can just take the Orianna and be very happy with yourself. Into Mel, completely fine matchup. She mitigates none of what you want to do. If they don't pick Orianna here for Looking for Jobs, then I'm just gonna have to assume that it's a hole in the map, a hole in the champ pool.
Yeah, I mean, you have the Nocturne. Why wouldn't you? Cho'Gath going to be locked in first, so we have 27 seconds before we're going to find out what that mid lane's going to be. But I think that Mel pick, since they were hovering Victor, it kind of telegraphs to me that Swain is actually going to be in the bot lane as the carry. I feel like that could be a pretty difficult lane for Varus, and it's actually going to be the Ryze locked in for the side of Looking for Jobs. So
I can't say I like it.
Where's the Orianna, bro? Come on, give it here.
Exactly. I don't really understand why you wouldn't take the Orianna here, unless you just don't play it. And
are we really
if that's the answer, I said to pick for fun. If you think Vayne top is fun into Cho'Gath, then you're wrong. Set manly. I respect
set the Cho'Gath, yeah. I'll allow it. Fun. The showstopper with a big beefy Cho'Gath right on top of a Varus, that's very satisfying.
But I mean, I think we should probably move on from it. But I just picking Ryze here. I mean, it's gonna be okay, but you're gonna have a difficult time properly closing down the distance yourself, right? Nocturne's gonna be able to close the distance pretty effectively. The rest of your squad's gonna have a difficult time joining him if he wants to keep on going in. I feel like Orianna was just free follow-up, especially with Lulu on hand as well. Just go all in on the fact that you have the Nocturne. And then your follow-up is simple beyond that, because you then have Chains of Corruption to throw after they're all shockwave down to half HP. And then Cho'Gath can knock them up and eat them as they come. But they go for Ryze. You can try and run a similar idea, but it's going to take a little bit of extra setup to properly get that Ryze going. And you because you don't have that instant follow-up CC that the Shockwave also supplies, beyond just knocking them up with the Wild Growth, I feel like Looking for Jobs may have given Valhalla a small little method for maybe escaping a couple of these Nocturne engages.
Yeah, it does feel like Nocturne just isn't really part of the comp in the way that maybe the last couple of jungle picks have been. There's just not really a pick that Nocturne really wants to play with here. And I feel like that's such a big piece of drafting Nocturne, is that he has a lot of really powerful 2v2 duos to play with, and we just saw pretty much none of them locked in. Like, sure, Ryze has nice gank setup with that Rune Prison. Cho'Gath can land a knockup, or, any number of things could happen. But I just don't know. It feels like a waste. And, like, Varus Lulu, not the best gank setup in the world. Chains of Corruption is not the most reliable skill shot out there. And on the other side, Valhalla Ravens, they've put together an interesting draft. Like you said, I think they're leaning pretty heavily on comfort here. Set into the Cho'Gath, that's pretty good for Set. Mel likely into that Ryze. Does have a big range advantage. Should play decently with the Bel'Veth. And then Swain Leona, I think, is actually a pretty good duo, especially to go into a couple of low mobility, low-ish range champions like the on-hit Varus and the Lulu.
Yeah, and there's only one polymorph at the end of the day as well, right? So you can both close down that distance pretty effectively, either bringing them close to you or just going in yourself as the Leona. Polymorph can only affect one person. While that happens, they're rooted. The Nevermore suddenly becomes that much easier to land for the Swain. You get so much follow-up damage for free. And I feel like through bot lane especially, Valhalla have some fun avenues to be having a look through. Mel mid, I mean, it's kind of difficult to really say what Mel is now, where she is in terms of good or not, because you feel like you play her in solo queue and you just kind of lose, right? Even if you get very far ahead early, sometimes it just doesn't matter. But then we also see it, throughout the pro scene, and it dominates. And it feels like it might just be because it's that high skill champion, similar to the Azir of old, where solo queue win rate might be around 45%, but she's still good enough when you get up to the master tier to really have an impact. I hope for Valhalla's sake that is the case, and maybe we can get towards a game 4, but if it isn't, we might be looking back at that as the kind of turning point, because I think, honestly, that is where looking for jobs have an advantage in this draft.
Yeah, and I think a key point that needs to be reversed is that we need to see a bit more early objective control from Valhalla Ravens. Bel'Veth is really dependent on getting access to that enhanced ultimate state, or the enhanced ult state, where she's going to be able to summon up all of her little fish friends in a side lane to try and push down some extra towers. So we need to have better grub control, better Rift Herald control, but also just kind of better dueling in the early game is available to Bel'Veth. She's a surprisingly strong duelist in a 1v1. Can maybe catch Nocturne unaware, take a good chunk out of him, and then maybe take control of an objective off of that.
If you can find that 1v1 level 1 as well, like, absolutely. I feel like it's really awkward throughout the whole of this game, right? Level 1, it feels like the Bel'Veth can win. Level 2, if the Nocturne levels up Fear, then he can do really well. He should be leveling up Fear because Nocturne. And then beyond that, it feels like it almost goes back to the Bel'Veth. It's just, it's going to be fascinating to see how these two interact, if they do interact at all. Because that's another thing. We talked about Xin trying to mitigate the Trundle in the jungle. Didn't happen. If the Nocturne can mitigate the invade potential of the Bel'Veth, if they can set up around the Drakes better, if they can get to level 6 fast to have an impact around not just the objectives, but then also the lanes, then maybe that's even more of an issue for Valhalla, because top lane, in theory, is winning for the set against the Cho'Gath, but with jungle intervention, that theory drops out the window. Swain and Leona should be pretty nice into Varus Lulu, but you send the Nocturne in there, even if he's level 6 and the Lulu isn't, it's probably enough to turn the tides, and especially if Varus then starts following up. Could be difficult for Valhalla to hold on in the lanes that should be winning, because it feels like Nocturne has a little bit easier gank potential as well than the Bel'Veth. At any rate, we will be sending over to a short little break before we get into game number 3, because we haven't had a break since the end, like game 2. So we'll be back in just a few when game 3 is ready.
And welcome in. We're here at Game 3 of the Wildcard round. Looking for Jobs is up 2-0 and has swapped over to the blue side after Valhalla, taking a couple losses and has decided to change up their draft strategy a little bit here in Game 3. And Rue, I've got a question for you. Between Dragons this series or kills onto Cam, which do you think there have been more of for the side of Valhalla?
Well, I may have had this spoiled for me, but they have got a kill on a Drake, and unfortunately they have not killed this mid laner yet. The Rise for this game has been quite pesky, though apparently there may be a changing to the status quo is in order, since Cam is playing it very precariously. This invade time is insane from Outlaw. Are we just flipping the game over Raptors?
Ooh, that would be a Belveth special, able to find a couple of those Void Rushes. Maybe look for a third. Is gonna think better of it. Outlaw's still kind of hanging around. Rise
Who got the mini
not
chickens?
A big threat at level 1.
A couple of the mini raptors diving. No one has a CS.
Duskbringer, he's just being an absolute menace. Outlaw is being so annoying.
I mean, this favors the Belveth, right? The longer this goes on, the slower Nocturne gets to 6 at the end of the day. Diego getting a really odd early game with Outlaw, who will eventually just back off, except that maybe flipping the game over enemy Raptors level 1 isn't the way to go about things. Diego will eventually be able to take his chickens. What a fascinating start to this one. Still trying to spot out if the Belveth is in the area. Snipper's now walking too far forward. Is he just dead?
Still here. Oh no, the flash follow from the fear. Duskbringer's going to claim first blood. It was an interesting idea. Just sent us back a little bit in time to when junglers started clearing their camps at 1 minute 30 instead of 45 seconds. But as it turns out, Nocturne hits level 2 and is able to get that little level 2 cheese gank, using that flash to make sure Mel could not break the fear.
Wow. What a start to the early game. Just complete degeneracy. You love to see it. You really truly do. Outlaw will eventually be able to clear his top side. Now Cam has naturally quite the advantage built up in mid, at least in terms of money spent when he gets to go back to his base. Only has a ghost, doesn't have TP. Gonna have to try and make the best of this recall. Snipper using TP to get back in a reasonable time frame, but with how little he'd been in the lane, how little CS he had, literally spends nothing. As now Giraffe is looking for yet more with level 3 ganking his Nocturne.
Nocturne coming in, he's gonna burn the flash out of the Leona. We have Outlaw coming in on the side, could be in a little bit of trouble. Exhaust goes down onto Diego. Nice, nice knockup from the Belveth, just not quite enough damage to finish off Diego. Needs one more rush, will pick up the kill. Not gonna be too much more left in the tank though. This play is gonna get called off. One kill, and another, actually a solo kill on the top lane as well.
Oh, Snipper. It's a 1-for-1 in topside, but he's just found a perfect time to get his revenge onto Diego as well. There you go, 1-for-1 on the top side with Crimson King not having to burn his flash. Chili Blue using his to get a small little advantage, I guess, with getting the kill first. I think he may be able to push the wave under the turret. Cam's now under threat again in mid. Level 3 ganks as Nocturne after a level 2 gank as a Nocturne. What has happened?
The game is just going off the rails. The game is looking just a lot more loose. Whether or not that's a good or bad thing, we have yet to find out. But definitely both teams are kind of playing, it seems, the way they want to. Cam playing pretty aggressively, gonna get a ward onto that red pit. See that it's gone. Lulu up here on the top side as well. What is she doing here? What is going on?
Now, I would have said that the crazy game would favor the Belveth, but I'm honestly not sure anymore. So he's just had to flash away as well. Outlaw going full escape, has a full bot side to clear though, so it won't be too bad for him. I mean, I guess the more solo queuey, random, everything is happening style would tend to favor the random solo queuey jungler.
You would have to hope. Outlaw does have a bit of a CS lead right now, and 2 assists with no death as compared to Nocturne with that first blood kill and 1 death.
Is he invading
Maybe.
Raptors?
I sure hope not, but it looks like he is. But it might be good timing, actually. Rise back in the map. Nocturne up on the top side clearing his Gromp. He does have time to grab this.
Oh, it's beautiful. I thought he was just going to go for a full clear, and clearly Diego thought so too. The Raptors respawn was where Outlaw was looking this whole time, and Diego's now put even further delay now towards his
Diego
level 6.
Mid again, Dustbringer lands. There is the rebuttal, but nothing reflected. Fear comes out, and there's just going to be a couple more auto attacks to finish it off for Cam, picking up one more kill.
Yeah, Snipper, no flash from the level 2 gank. It also worked, by the way. Means the second death is inevitable. Let's go down to bot, because apparently we're fighting down there as well.
A little Vision of Empire and
Ow.
trade. A lot of damage onto the Giraffe. Need one more Death's Hand, just not quite in range. Oh no, the Apotheon couldn't get there in time.
Hello.
Great never move to pull Rise right out of that teleport. Oh, the Arcane Prison gonna land onto Eternal Fire. Picked up by that piercing arrow out of Varus.
I mean, let's just keep on fighting. I mean, the Drake's up. Should we have a go at that one as well? Should we just keep throwing down hands? I mean, why not at this point? Cam using the flash in that exchange, getting yet another kill for his squad. The gold is technically even, believe it or not. Even if around it has been some just insane solo queue gameplay from both these squads. Diego finally ticked up to level 5 at the time you'd want him to be ticking up to level 6 because of how much has been occurring. He realizes now that his Raptors have been stolen. When that happened like a minute and a half ago, he has to go for the lonely walk up towards his topside camps, of which the walls are there. This jungle clear is not looking tasty at all for the Nocturne. Varus finally gets to base. Max Pikachu a bit on the riff for quite a while, with a whole lot of gold for him to spend. Couple of lost traps on the other side. Hadn't been matched up until that point. I mean, these guys are just throwing down hands, and I'm here for it.
So far, it's kind of working. The biggest advantage, though, is I think we saw Set with maybe a 300 gold lead over Cho'Gath. Yeah, about 200 right now. That's the biggest lead on the map. That is nothing. You're looking at a cloth armor difference. Congratulations. That's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things in that 1v1. Outlaw has ticked over to level 6, does have that slight XP lead still, but does not have an objective to grab to get that upgraded Endless Banquet. Gonna be looking to grab that red buff and then maybe try and find another gank. Would really like to get into that enhanced form, though.
Grub spawn at 8 minutes. He'll be going towards that in 10 seconds time, unless Diego says he also wants to go there in 10 seconds time. Has a paranoia if that is going to be the case. Should we just flip the game over the Grubs? We didn't do over the Raptors before. Diego's dropping all 3 bot counts to go do this. Let's just flip the game as a 1v1 jungle.
Hey, Outlaw's going to find him. Snipper will be here first if he chooses to move. Does have the priority, and we do have Chili Blue moving down as well. Diego could be in a little bit of trouble here if he's not too careful. It's 1 grub in the pocket, actually taken away by looking for work. Good smite. Gonna get that enhanced form though. Outlaw grabs that ultimate, grabs that Void Coral, and is going to finish off 2 grubs for his team. So 2 grubs to 1 as a split for Valhalla Ravens.
Looking for jobs, just used all 4 summoners in bot lane. I can only assume that was a level 6 versus a not quite level 6 type of play. Total Fire ticking up. Didn't even use a Solar Flare in the end, just going for an engage. Only wanted to maintain a summoner off the back, as Apotheon also using his flash and his exhaust in the overall play. The hands are still being thrown. Cam is still having to go in towards mid as well, as Snipper is going to try and reflect the worst of what the Rise had to throw at him. But then again, the Rise didn't have much to throw at him in the first place. We're just doing things. We're just like clicking the buttons right now, and the thought, the deliberation that was behind everything in Game 1 and Game 2 has gone out the window.
No, now it is just, I see enemy, put him up. Let's go. I'm going to chin this guy. But I think in that bot lane, probably just saw kind of that combat power of the Demonic Ascension. Swain can be a real pain to deal with in that kind of early to mid game. Varus does have % health damage, but he just doesn't have enough items built up yet for it to be really scary. To kind of eat that 3 Blighted Quiver stack ability pop. And like, Those demon flares, they'll chunk you.
Mm-hmm. What really is scary now as well is the item difference that's occurring on the Rift, because both mid lane and bot lane went boots first from looking for job. They are down with components up against completed items pre-10. Both those lanes have been accelerated, and they've also gone for pretty cheap items, right? Ludens and Malignants, they're relatively cheap by comparison to some of the other things everyone else can have to go for. Outlaw's now having a look at play on top. Oh my god, Chili Blue, that was disgusting.
Nice flash follow. Haymaker connects, finishes off the kill. I believe it's a solo kill in his pocket. We got a Paranoia flying in. The play never ends.
Snip it in flash.
By now.
Okay,
Fear is not going to be enough, but it
When
will
you
be
flash
a
earlier?
prison follow. Just a bit too late on that flash for Snipper. And then in the bot lane 2v2, it turns out Max Pikachu and the Giraffe are they're just gonna win that 2v2.
They win the 2v2, not even using a wild growth, by the way. Down item completions versus components. They don't, like, none of what just happened made sense. First of all, beautiful Haymaker. Reiterate that one. That was filthy from Chili Blue. Love to see things like that. Mid lane, Snipper, like, you're getting engaged on by an ulting Nocturne. The Rise is going to be coming down the lane. He's not doing that 1v1. Just flash. Get out of there. Save yourself. Instead, uses flash and then dies as well. The worst case scenario for this Mel yet again. That's twice in the series, twice in this game rather, that he's flashed in a dying play out of his 3 deaths. That Giraffe, that's very greedy. But he won the 2v2, so let's go for it.
Flash Zenith Blade. Gonna get absolutely locked up. Nowhere to run. Wild Growth goes down, but that is not enough to keep him alive. Cloud Dragon now in the eyes of Valhalla Ravens.
I can't even begin to try and break that one down. Just supports in their wards. Need I say anything else?
Yeah, that's 30 gold sitting there.
Exactly. It's also 300 when you die, but that's not the point, as Chili Blue is now in danger.
Chili Blue could be looking for a good showstopper angle, but needs to buy a little bit of time for that cooldown. Cam is here, and he has been just the monster this series, and he will get chomped down. Feast +1 stack for Crimson King.
Thank you very much indeed, says the Crimson King. Happily gonna take that kill in the top side. Makes it 2 for 2 now. Only overall, though of course that assistance does definitely help things out. Now the Cho'Gath has a little bit of breathing room. Cam using his roam potential on the Rise to great effect so far. 5 KP for him, and still yet to take a nosedive in the series. Completely flawless throughout it. If you had him as your MSI pickers for highest KDA, how? But also really good job.
MSI, you got me thinking about MSI. Outlaw finds Crimson King, but not gonna be any big kill threat there yet. Diego's gonna be looking to invade on Rob. Paranoia flying in on the Mel. Diego was in trouble, but now it's Mel who is in absolutely nowhere she should be. Eternal Fire gonna be able to lock up 2 with that Solar Flare.
Oh, you're
Big
gone.
Wild Growth knockup. There's just so much damage coming through from this Varus, from this Nocturne, from that Lulu, from that Rise. That's gonna be a nice 3 kills picked up in the jungle from the 4-man invade.
I have to say, watching this game as a neutral and just seeing things happening for very little reasons was very entertaining. These 2 teams have not missed a single opportunity in Game 3 to throw down hands as often as they can. I'm so here for it. And it's also really good to see as well for looking for jobs. They're able to play in multiple styles. They're happy to take the most degenerate game possible, and they're doing a really good job in it.
Outlaw did a nice job evading that gank with the use of that big blast cone there. Able to escape what would have otherwise been a very threatening position, finding himself pinned between a Cho'Gath and a Rise with a couple of bones to pick. He's going to be able to get
Sounds
back.
almost like an idiom.
Not between a Rise and a Cho'Gath. Not a place you want to be. Able to get back and finish that Kraken Slayer, though. That's a pretty big completion for the Bel'Veth here in this early game. Probably headed towards that Stridebreaker next with that Phage in inventory.
Yeah, I mean, Outlaw, out of all of this, is one of the larger beneficiaries, right? As is to be expected from solo queue jungler in a very solo queue feely game. It might not be enough.
Snipper's in trouble again. Paranoia onto the Mel.
Hey, that guy's a flash. Kill him.
There's just no way out. Doesn't matter how close you are to tower, they're just gonna walk in and chomp you dead. Actually, Feast's still available if they want to make a move on this Rift Herald.
And
So
how important now does that flash look in the play where he died anyway? If you hold on to the flash, and those previous 2 plays aren't even like thought of. When they were that close to the turret with flash, they're not going.
You played lands, never moved. Vision of Empire, another Solar Flare, but Eternal Fire is just getting eviscerated by the Varus. Demon Flare going to be able to pick up the Lulu with another Death's Hand, but look at this damage coming out of the Varus. Max Pikachu just shredding these guys. The Royal Maelstrom not going to be enough. That's 3 kills, a triple kill in a 2v3 in that extended play. Well done, Max Pikachu.
Oh, he wins these. He so wins these. Oh no, it's gone from bad to worse. Oh, there's a free Rift Herald too. It looks like Crimson King did end up getting hungry and fancied himself some void food.
Making a showstopper here. Looks like Crimson King's gonna try and get into the Rift Herald, but the charge is now on cooldown. So he's just gonna get sprinted down here. Facebreaker pulls him back in. Vision of Empire.
He doesn't have the charge. Run! He's flashing!
Is on the move. Dodges the rupture. Chili Blue needs to knuckle down and get over here.
No, the blast code. No way.
Blast code. He's buying
no, he's gone. Surely.
But no, he's gonna fall down to Outlaw in the final moments. Interesting chase down play, but it does finally result in the kill on the Crimson King.
Well, all that happened, by the way, as well. Snipper took the shutdown on the bot side. Max slightly overstaying to get that tier 1 turret. Snipper using flash again, but this time to get a kill, right? It's going to feel a little better using the flash, but again, we've seen how vulnerable he is when he doesn't have that summoner, and how good as well looking for jumping at punishing him. We might have to come back to the old adage of don't flash unless it's to run away, right? Never flash aggressively could potentially come back and hurt him.
We got the 4-man 4v4.
Oh, this V8.
Here comes Demon Flare, but Swain is just eviscerated immediately.
Oh my
Big
God.
pop from the Endless Banquet.
Hello.
Looks like the banquet's over. Mel's going to be able to use that big blast cone, but she is slowed down. She has no way out of this. Crimson King wants a nice little snack, but he's going to get pulled away. Facebreaker will keep Mel alive for just a little bit longer, and instead, Cho'Gath will just
a nice little snack, you say?
Set.
Oh my God, the Realm Warp!
And here comes a Realm Warp flying in. Rupture will land this time. Snipper's got nowhere to go. Root lands. Is there going to be enough? No. Second Rupture will claim the kill. These fights are just crazy. They're going off the rails in this game 3.
And it's not technically an ace, but like it is. The Leona respawned, Apotheon respawned. We should carry on fighting. Should we make it 7 for 1? Why not?
Got a knockup from the Belvath. Royal Maelstrom coming out.
Ooh.
They are going to claim the shutdown, but I think Outlaw needs to get the heck out of here. Cam is still very threatening and still deathless in this series. 6-0-9 on this rise. Doesn't even have the Archangels finished, and he is this much of a menace.
Absolute menace to society at this point. He's escaped the realms of this game, realm warping into the backline whenever he feels like it. Hasn't got his rower stacked. Hasn't got his Archangels yet, and I think he might already have enough gold. Okay, not quite. If he had enough to get an actualizer as well, that would have like perfectly demonstrated the degeneracy of this game state. Doesn't quite have that, but someone else who does have 3 items is Max Pikachu. 11,500 gold. Look at the bot mid diff in this game 3.
Yeah, 3 complete items and then a couple of small components. You're staring into 2 pretty budget mage items here in that Rylays and Malignance. As we see maybe Cam looking aggressively upset. Here comes Paranoia flying in. He needs to get a showstopper, but there's just no angle. Diego and Cam are going to team up to pick up another kill.
And hey, it stacks your tier faster if you're hitting champions as well. So Cam's going to feel happy about that because he gets to just get a little bit closer to finally finishing off his Seraphs. The base is coming through from looking for jobs is an interesting timer here. I'm surprised. I thought the Diego would carry on in the top, so maybe he had Strikebreaker. That's what it was. That's dangerous, Max.
Yep, they find Max Pikachu out here, and he may be strong, but he is not strong enough to 1v3. It's a bit of an overstep. Punished nicely, though. And that Giraffe needs to get out of here expeditiously. Realm Warp, oh, the knockup is not going to land, and that's a teleport also expended.
Oh
Snipper
no.
was going to try and hit the pincer attack, but since the Realm Warp completed, the play is over.
Well, you don't try and run the pincer attack on a team with Cho'Gath. He doesn't even have to be there. He is the pincers. You don't pincer attack the pincer. You don't start Baron at 20 minutes either when you're down 6k gold as like a thing by default. But I guess doing their best T1 impression right now are Valhalla. They're going to have to come back from the grave if they want to pull this one off. They might have a chance, but Diego has Zolt. Paranoia just denies this play entirely. This is... They are getting out of the series as fast as possible.
Consider this, Rue. There's no champions to fight. We'll find a champion to fight. We'll make them come to us with this Baron. Paranoia comes in, flies back onto the Mel, just ignoring the Swain here. Swain will continue sprinting down this Lulu. And now he's going to find himself without any champions to drain off of. The
Max is face checked
off. And now he is just half the champion. Max is just going to walk up and kill 3 people by himself. Crimson King was just split pushing the whole time. That's just 4v5. A 4v5 team fight win in the back pocket of looking for jobs.
And that's why you don't try and take Baron when you're down 6k gold. Because they can 4v5 you. Crimson doesn't even need to have his TP, which he didn't have. It's coming off cooldown in a couple of seconds, but you can see how superfluous it was. He just carries on split pushing. Not a care in the world. That man, like, epitomizes the idea of having Maroon 5 in the background. He is listening to payphones so hard right now.
Oh, someone's coming to cut the music off. He's going to have to flash away. A lot of crowd control available, but Cho'Gath is just going to kind of opt out of that situation. Hit play on his music again.
Hit play, get back to Gromp. That's another feast right there.
Outlaw's going to face check into that Giraffe. Not going to really follow it up aggressively.
Polymorph him.
Gonna get found again, now in the middle of 3, and Outlaw, that Royal Maelstrom is damage resist, but it's not damage immunity. Gonna get absolutely eviscerated by the combination of Varus and Rise.
How devastating is this series loss? On like a real note for a second, Valhalla, they were never really in any of these games. Game 3 was a bit back and forth because both teams just agreed to play Degenerate. And that's fun. But as a series loss to leave playoffs, like...
Here comes Paranoia and Golden Eclipse. Golden Eclipse is going to pick up the kill on the Nocturne, actually. Swain goes golden. He is draining a lot of HP. But look at that burst damage out of the Varus. The on-hit is just absolutely disgusting. Velveth comes out of base and thinks, actually, I think I'd rather go back into my base. Set really needs to just find himself a nice haymaker angle, just gonna get silenced up and taken down. Outlaw will pick up the Varus kill, but now there is no one left alive to defend this Nexus, and as it turns out, no one will be killing Cam tonight. He is going to go deathless for all 3 games.
He goes like 50-0 on the night. Like, his KDA is quite literally infinite through 3 games. What more is there to say? I mean,
Realm Warps
from looking for Job's point of view,
style points. And I mean,
looking for Job's point of view, this is an amazing series from them, right? If there's anything to get you hyped about a team headed into BOL Masters playoffs, it's these guys. Next week, they got a 1 seed because they came through the wildcard round. Honestly, after a performance like that, take them on. It feels like they could take on the world after seeing an insane stomping of that magnitude. 3 games where it didn't even look for a second like Valhalla had a realistic chance. That was domination from start to finish. And looking for jobs. I mean, they're making us look for jobs. That was 2 hours in a best of 5.
Yeah, I think I gotta go pick up a shift somewhere to kind of make up for the lack of game 4 here. But I mean, it's tough. That game 3 early game was maybe the closest Valhalla Ravens looked all series long, and then it hit just a certain point, and all of a sudden, bang, a couple of fights go in the favor of looking for jobs, and they just don't look back.
But it does make me feel a little bit happier about game 1 now. When we were talking about the draft, like maybe it wasn't a draft diff, because we were looking at it as like, huh, I feel like they have a chance coming out of this draft. It was just a hands diff on the day, looking for jobs. Such an immense performance, and as I said, looking forward now from their point of view, they have to go up against a 1 seed, but I reckon they're going to have a very good chance after a performance such as that. As for Valhalla, a performance like that, I don't think they get to go to Valhalla. Right? To go to Valhalla, you have to die fighting. That wasn't a fight.
Game 3, I think, was actually just one
That was a
really
scrap.
long fight. It was there was only fighting in that third game, but the first two, I mean, it was just a shellacking from start to finish, basically all series long. There was a couple of individual plays that worked out well for them, but it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like Looking for Jobs was in control the whole time, and they're looking for a little upset over a 1 seed next week. Momentum is definitely a factor in a series like this. We see a lot of teams in, like, even professional regions, when they get their 1 week off from having that first or second place bye, maybe they get a little rusty. Maybe they're not feeling quite so good coming into that match as compared to a team that just came from a 3-0 gappening here in this match today.
Well, we'll have to see if they're able to capitalize upon that, or if the 1 seeds will strike back next time round. Though I suspect that the matchup we watch might not be Looking for Jobs, but we'll have to worry about that next week. Before then, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for joining us, BOL Masters. Be sure to stick around throughout the week because we have many other BOL things, namely Diamond, which I am going to mention for no other reason other than that I'm there. Please watch it. We're close to the end. But thank you all for being here, as we are also close to the end of this stream. 3-0 out of here in under 2.5 hours. I am shocked. I'm surprised. But most of all, I'm glad that I got to experience with you, Femback. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Corby Soul, as well, for running prod behind the scenes. We'll see you guys next time.